Good evening, everyone. We are back for our Studio Ghibli retrospective. There's only a month left after this, and we've cleared them all. We've done all of them.
And
Today
then
we're
it's
talking.
the year,
Say that again.
and when it's the end of the year.
It is. It is. We do have some more retrospectives lined up for next year. I think we've got at least two animation ones planned, and we'll see what else happens.
Are we
Um,
you know how humans are mammals? Are we the mammals with the least amount of nipples? I,
um,
I don't know. Just because
that never
you
even occurred to me. I
dogs
don't
have got
know.
six, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Just
they've got like a six pack of nipples, haven't they? Yeah.
yeah, just a thought.
There we go. Anyway, we're talking about the 2013 movie The Wind Rises, directed and written by Hayao Miyazaki. Miyazaki had gone into retirement after Ponyo. I feel like he's gone into retirement at least 3 or 4 times. He was like, this is going to be my last one.
Everyone does that, don't they?
And then what's that quote? It's like, somehow, some way, they got me back, or I'm back in, whatever that quote is. But yeah,
Yeah.
he came back to do this one. Actually, he was really apprehensive to do this one, especially about like the subject matter of it. So I guess for anyone who doesn't know what The Wind Rises is about, I'll just go into a very, very brief synopsis. It's a fictionalized account of the life of an aeronautical engineer called Jiro Horikoshi, who was a real person, and it goes from his early engineering career through university and ends in a test flight of, and I've got the name of the plane here, the Mitsubishi KA-14 on the 4th of February 1935. It's straying towards that wartime scenario. This is a full-on drama movie. This is like, it's the Japanese animated historical drama. I never know what to expect from these Studio Ghibli films every single week. I never read the synopsis. I try and stay away from anything. And I like that. I like going in cold and you hit play on that movie. And it's like, right, what's the journey we're going to go on for this one? So I wasn't expecting this kind of story or type of film at all from the get go.
I like things where you don't have a clue. It just makes it so much better because I think trailers and stuff are there to like what they're there to sell it, obviously. And when you are already set on, I'm going to watch this or a game, I'm going to play this or whatever, I think the less things I see about it, the better. Some people would probably say that's risky because they think like, oh, you might go in and it's going to be crap, but that can happen from a trailer anyway. So basically, if you're already going to watch it or whatever, like it's just the less information, the better. More surprises.
Yeah, no,
But it's
absolutely.
a mechanical engineer, essentially. That is the plot.
Yeah. Well, this is based on, well, it's a real person, as I mentioned, but it's it's a fictionalized account of his story. Miyazaki actually did a manga of this back in, I think it was '09, so a few years before this movie came out, and I think this was all compiled in like a complete volume in like 2015. And the design of some of the characters is very different. There's some characters that look like anthropomorphized pigs, which is very reminiscent of his film Porco Rosso that we talked about. And he was happy after he did the manga. It was like a hobby of his. He mentioned he did the manga and that was it. And the film he actually wanted to make after Ponyo was a sequel to Ponyo. That's what he really wanted to do. However, this was rejected by the producers, and they suggested that he do a film adaptation of his manga
There's
series, The
no
Wind
actual
Rises.
sequels, though, are there?
No.
We
Well,
got
you've got like The Cat Returns, which
we got
is
that, but it's not a sequel. There's no like,
spiritual sequel, isn't it? Really, but it's kind of its
yeah,
own thing. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Unlike fucking Pixar, Toy
yeah.
Story
That's what I was
5.
going to mention. Yeah, like that, and they're fucking weird.
How do we feel about that? Should we save our talk for Toy Story 5 at the end, or
I just think it's a terrible idea. No. The idea is good. It's a terrible idea to do another one.
yes,
The
yeah.
idea of the movie is good, but yeah.
If it's an animated short, like a 10-minute thing, 15-minute thing with the toys, I'd be fine with that.
They should do a horror one where, like, have you seen the Meat Canyon one?
Yeah.
They should do something like that, and that's what they need to do just to end it. And the toys go crazy and do that to Bonnie, and then they're just like, because we can't have another owner, and then they walk off into the distance, and that's what they should do.
And then somehow in the next movie they'd all be back together and everything would be fine and nothing's happened. So yeah, the producer said, hey, you should do like a film adaptation of your manga, and Miyazaki apparently rejected this, and the reason that he gave was that it wouldn't be suitable for children. It, like, a big proponent of the films that he makes is that he wants them to be accessible to children and to, you know, so that like a
Well, this is
family
the thing.
type thing.
Didn't Quentin Tarantino say Kill Bill was suitable for children? So,
I think he did.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to take what he says with a grain of salt, but yeah, he's a force
Hey,
to
I
be
watched it
reckoned
as a
with,
kid
isn't
and
he?
I turned out fine.
But the producers came back and apparently said, quote, children should be allowed children should be allowed to be exposed to subjects they are not familiar with, end quote. And that apparently was what convinced him. And yeah, here we go. We have this film. So I guess we've already talked about this film very, very briefly before we went live. And I feel like we're both in the same boat with this one, in that it's a fantastic film. It's a very, very well made film. It's a good historical drama film, but there's not really much that would bring me back to watch this a second time. I'm glad I experienced it, but it doesn't go beyond that for me.
I've always been very any movie, not okay. This is wrong. Not any movies that are based on real life events, but a lot of movies that are based on real life events have never taken priority in my life, in the sense of I prefer fantasy things that aren't very realistic, and you know that's the kind of thing as an overall I prefer. So they've always been behind that, like as a one-time watch sort of thing, and this kind of falls into that category, but it just feels not like a documentary, but very sort of, if you're interested in that, you'll like it.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of is like, oh, it's based on this, which I like. And I don't know, I just wasn't. And I was like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, there was some great animations in it, but it was just quite, there was a lot of realism stuff, obviously, like based in the real world. And it was just sort of it just felt like just another movie to forget about.
I can tell this was a passion project for Miyazaki. Number one, he wrote the manga for it. He's already like penned this story before, but also we know from all of his works how much he's into aeroplanes and just vehicles and stuff like that. We've seen that in all of his films. He's got an absolute love for aircraft. So this is just an absolute passion project through and through, because they go into infinitesimal detail with how planes are constructed, and you can just tell that that passion that Miyazaki has is showing through in the film. And I actually think that the main character, when we're introduced to him in 1918 as a young boy, Jiro's character, I imagine that's probably what Miyazaki was like as a kid, sort of like reading magazines on planes and things like that, and maybe wanting to be a pilot himself. So I saw it as this intensely personal film at the very beginning. I actually thought it might be almost semi-autobiographical on Miyazaki, and then quickly I realized, oh no, it's actually based on a real person and things like that. The animation's absolutely flawless again, and that's been a case of every single Studio Ghibli film. They've flirted with like different art styles and things like that, but for the most part, it's always really good animation. Just the colors again. I'll keep saying it. Just like this. Take this for example, like the greens at the field. There's one moment at the very beginning of the film, I think, where we see a plane flying, and I think it's sort of dawn or something like that, and everything's in low lighting, and as the plane's flying, it almost brings the daylight in, and then it's almost like the Wizard of Oz. We've been talking about those films, how you go from the sepia world into this wonderful, vibrant technical world, and it looks great. There's a lot of stuff going on with the animation in this one, especially when you have really busy crowd shots with a lot of moving parts. There's a moment in this film where there's an earthquake and everyone's sort of like scrambling for safety. And I was just watching it thinking, like, people were drawing this. I don't know if it was like digital or if it was art style. I think there was probably more digital stuff in this one. Either way, they had to do this frame by frame. And to navigate that many moving things in one frame at a time must have been a Herculean feat to do that in animation. So it looks amazing, as all of these things do, definitely.
Yeah, it like with the earthquake, and how the houses go like that. It's like they kind of
like ripples, doesn't it? Sort of thing with the impact.
Ripple, but like I don't know, but there was something in my head. I was like, it looks like this, and I can't. But yeah, any sort of ripple thing basically does that, and it just looked really, really cool. There was some really great things there. Some great shots. So I can't really fault the animation in it. The colors are great. I think the drawings are great. The design of the characters. You get a lot of things like you see the indents of like people's like dimples, their cheek, but like that, you see that when they, and I think that's a really great thing that pops out, which I think people expect in animation, which isn't wrong to expect in animation, but you do get a lot where that doesn't happen. And when you see it, it's really nice to kind of like, but you just, it's like, when you see those little details that when you look for it, you're like, oh, it's actually got a lot more detail than a lot of things. And like when the plane's flying over the fields and you got that sort of like, like the fields are coming towards it, like it's done very, very well. I can see obviously a lot of effort was put into it.
Yeah,
I just don't think the story was anything spectacular. It was just kind of, cool.
it's up there as well, isn't it? It's just over 2 hours, this one. And as I say, like I wasn't expecting like a serious drama. Here's the thing, like we've seen dramas in Studio Ghibli before. Grave of the Fireflies. My God, it's absolutely haunting, that film, and easily one of the best. It's wildly different from a lot of their films, but as a film, it's probably one of the best in their entire catalogue. So I think this is still a really good film. But as I say, there's not that much replay value to this one. I know that's a term usually thrown at video games. Rewatchability. There we go. There's not that much rewatchability with this.
That's the thing. I mean, I've seen. I looked at some reviews and stuff that people were basically saying on the movie. And there were a lot of people saying stuff like that, but there were some people that were really into it and said, like, it's one of the greatest love stories, which I do disagree with.
I was going to bring that up because you hate love stories.
I do.
Because you have no soul, Dale. You have no soul, and it hurts me.
I hate love stories. The thing is, right?
I really liked the love story in this one. I thought it was incredibly well told. I thought it was really sweet.
It was okay. It was there. I mean, to be fair, everyone also said Final Fantasy VIII had one of the best love stories. It really fucking didn't. It was emo boy going, "Oh no, but like I hate life," and then this girl really wanted him, and you're like, "That's not like a compelling love story. That's just a, you know what I mean? That's just a teenage drama." But anyway, but the point is, it was okay. But I do see people said that, so I know there is a lot of love out there for this type of thing and for this movie as well. Just then again, people like Twilight, so I don't really know why.
Yeah, it's true. Bath Time says, "How's the lads?" And I'm doing all right, thanks, mate. Yeah, can't complain. Oh, well.
I watched this for 2 hours. No, it's not that bad. It was okay. Yeah, it's like I'll give the day 6 out of 10.
I think that's fair. I think like as a film, I'd probably bump it to like a Give
the day 6 out of 10.
I thought you meant this movie. I thought you meant this movie 6 out of 10. I really liked the love story in this one. Now it's weird because I thought, watching this film, realizing it was based on this guy, I thought the love story was based on this guy. It isn't. He's sort of the whole love story angle. Miyazaki's taken this from another novel, which almost has a very, very similar name to this film. It's an autobiographical novel by Tatsuo Hori. I think I'm saying his name correctly, hopefully, called The Wind Has Risen. And that goes into like, his relationship with someone who had tuberculosis and this tragic love story and things like that. So he's taken that aspect from the book and brought it into the story of this, which I don't know how I feel about. I mean, I always say that I don't need something to be completely historically accurate for it to be a good film. For example, Pocahontas is always the example I go to in Disney's catalog. It's a good film. It's not one of Disney's best, but it is good.
The issue with historically accurate stuff is always going to be if you're close to the story. So it's also like books to movies. If you're close to the book, if you're close to knowing how well the story is, or it could be an autobiographical film, you're close to what those people look like. It's always going to have a bit of like, do you know what I mean? To it. Whereas like, so like for instance, like Bohemian Rhapsody is an example of something like if you're really close to how these characters look, you'd be like, does it? And it feels fake to you. So it doesn't need to be historically accurate to a T, but I can see why if you know the story well, how sometimes those kind of things can be a bit like, it's just done for a movie though, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I did like that aspect to it, and I thought it was woven in really well. I liked that. Well, number one, I thought it was just a really sweet love story. I like how during the earthquake sequence, we have Jiro who saves his future wife at that point.
It's a good love story. Fatal Attraction. Good love story.
The bunny boiler. No bunnies get boiled in this, thankfully. Well, none that we see anyway. But yeah, so he saves. He doesn't realize at the time his future wife and her maid, and she never gets his name. So there's always like this star-crossed lovers kind of thing, and the two reconnect. Really beautiful shot where she stood on this hill with the umbrella. It's on the main poster, and she's painting on a canvas and everything. Really, I guess like an iconic shot for this movie. And yeah, I thought it was just they're just really good with each other. They, and she's so supportive of him as well, even and he's supportive of her when she's going through her illness, and he's there and he's trying to balance his work but also take care of her. And I like that ultimately by the end of the film, it's her influence, it's her support that helps him create this blueprint for what will be the most impressive plane that he's trying to create. So I like that she helps him create that by just being there. Her presence is there. And then when they do the test flight, that's when he kind of senses from afar on the wind that she's passed away. And it's like she was there for him until that moment where they did the test flight, and then she passes on. I like stuff like that. I think it's just really sweet, and I thought it was just handled. I thought, especially like in animation and everything, it was just beautiful to watch all of that stuff.
I mean, my views on it when I see that, I'm like, oh, no, that's sad. Get over it.
What was I going to say about the the dream sequences in this? So periodically Jiro has dream sequences with, let me find his name, it's the Italian guy, Giovanni Battista Caproni.
Sounds like Ezio.
Yeah, I guess so. And he has these, so he has throughout the movie, he has a dream when he's a child, and he's like, I really want to be a pilot. And he's like, oh, you don't need to be a pilot. You got poor eyesight. You can create planes. It's the most beautiful thing. And that is sort of like one of the biggest themes in the movie, I think, is that like death and destruction can come about from your beautiful creation. And it's Jiro trying to wrestle with that, in that he loves creating planes. It's his life's mission. He sees the beauty in, I'll say aerodynamics. That's aviation. Is that the word? Yeah, he sees beauty in aviation, but he's like, at what cost? Like, I've created these planes, and these planes are made for, to be used in war, which will kill people, which will be shot at and blown up. And there's that moment at the end where he's in the dream sequence and he's sort of like littered in a graveyard of all burnt out wreckages of the planes that he's created. So I think there is that dilemma there of, can you see the beauty in the things that you create despite what they may be used to do? And a film that I'd probably compare this to is Oppenheimer, that came out recently, the Christopher Nolan movie, the guy who helped create the atom bomb.
Is that is that like saying, if you're Jeffrey Dahmer's dad, like, you can see the beauty?
yeah, I guess so. Because like Oppenheimer, he creates the bomb and he's all about physics and everything, and you see how passionate he is for it, and then it's like, fuck, that was just dropped and killed however many people it killed when the atom bomb was dropped, and the ramifications of what that will mean for the future of warfare and the rest of the world. So basically, similar themes there.
The reason everyone destroys the world,
and it will be destroyed at some point, probably via those means.
Exactly. So imagine that, though, knowing that you were the cause. Imagine that.
I am the destroyer of worlds. You got to live with that. Well, he's dead now, but the music in this, Joe Hisaishi returns. Right. I thought it was beautiful music. I'd struggle to pinpoint a theme unless I listened to the soundtrack on its own, but I thought it was a really sweet soundtrack. I thought it sort of complemented the film really well. I don't know if it's one of Hisaishi's best, but it's still wonderful music. Like, anytime I hear music like this, I try and think of someone, penning all of those notes and construct. Anyone who can do that, even for like a simple 1-minute tune, is a genius as far as I'm concerned, because music is incredibly complicated. So, Hisaishi is a master of his craft, absolutely. But this isn't, I'd much prefer the music in Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbor Totoro. Yes. Yeah, it's in there. It's in the list. In the dream sequences, though, one thing I did notice was the moment where he sees visions of all of the Japanese pilots. They sort of like salute him and wave to him, and then fly up into the sky into this sort of like plane-like heaven. And I was like, we've seen that before in Porco Rosso, haven't we? Where all the planes were sort of ascending to heaven in the sky. So he's using similar imagery there, similar little beats between movies.
I like the detail on the plane wings as well. Like you see a lot of the but the thing is, it's drawn in such a way where it's not overly detailed, but it looks very detailed of like the steel and the So yeah, I think there was a lot of attention to it, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's exceptionally well done for what it is. It's just you experience it, and you'll feel what you feel for it, or don't feel for it, and then you'll move on. This just lacks in that rewatchability for me, and I get that sometimes. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes films are made that you should experience, that everyone should experience, but maybe only the once. Maybe once is all you need. You watch it, you experience it, you move on with your life. Sort of like Grave of the Fireflies. I've watched that twice though now. Once many years ago, and once obviously for this retrospective, and it's incredible. And I love that film.
I might end up going back to that. That is,
You've got to be in a certain mood and headspace to watch something like that again. You know what I mean? I'm not ruling it out. It's a phenomenal film. It's brilliant. It's one of the best in the whole repertoire. Well, it's just nice. It's just easygoing, isn't it? Whether it's better or not, I don't know, because I mean they're two wildly different films. But they were released on the same day, weren't they? That was funny. Like they bought.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah.
So it's like the kids come out kicking and screaming from Grave of the Fireflies. It's like, oh, quickly get them into My Neighbor Totoro. Look at this happy, plushy, terrifying thing.
Pick up the wrong one that you go and see.
Yeah. But I think the clue's in the name, isn't it?
Well, you say that. I walked into the Ring when I went to see a movie with my mum when I was a kid. So.
Honestly, I'm trying to think of anything else to talk about this film. That's really it. And I've tried to sort of notice which films that we've only talked about for like 20 minutes. I think when we did My Neighbor the Yamadas, it was about this, and I think that might be quite telling. This is not me saying this is a bad film at all. This is a wonderfully directed, written, voice acted, everything. Like the music's great, but it's just the subject matter maybe isn't the most interesting to me personally. I enjoy a lot of the themes in there. I like sort of like the question that it leaves you with at the end, about, following one's passion, even though it might lead to, like war and destruction. Trust in the fact that you've made beautiful things and there's nothing wrong with that. I like all of that stuff, but it's just not interesting enough for me probably to come back to this or recommend this as much as I would as some of the other Studio Ghibli films, perhaps. Like, again, I've mentioned this before. If someone had never seen any Studio Ghibli movies and said, right, give me one to watch to get me into these films, I wouldn't pick The Wind Rises.
No, not at all.
You'd go with one of the more staple ones, wouldn't you? So, yeah, it's a good film. It's fine, but I feel like we can do better with Studio Ghibli.
We can do a lot better. We have done better.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm just looking at the next few weeks. So we've got a month left. Next week's one is actually one of the most highest rated ones on IMDb. So I'm really looking forward to that. It looks like it's done in a very, very different, unique art style that we haven't seen before. So that looks interesting. That is going to be The Tale of the Princess Kaguya. So that is directed by Isao Takahata. What was the last film that he did? It feels like it's been a while since we've seen him direct anything. It was My Neighbors the Yamadas. That was the last film that he did.
Yay.
But he also did Grave of the Fireflies. So there you go. Oh, only yesterday. Oh no, you didn't like that one, did you? Only yesterday.
I think it was another boring one, wasn't it? It was one of those just like
He does like deeply personal films, I think. So yeah, I'm interested in that, and it is really, really highly rated among many of the other ones that we've done over the last few weeks. So yeah, I think Howl's Moving Castle had 8.2, and Spirited Away 8.6. This is sitting on an 8, so it's up there. I'm looking forward to that one. I remember seeing a trailer for that. Yeah, that came out in that was 2013 as well. So we had 2 Studio Ghibli films both in 2013. That's crazy. I didn't realize that from the 2 different directors. But yeah, looking forward to that one. 2013.
2013. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's rated, it's a U, isn't it? The fact that it's a U and they've got characters smoking is like, well, you could show Disney that it's not an issue.
Mm. I've actually just read the synopsis. I've broken my rule. I always like going in cold, but it's just right there in front of me. It seems like a really interesting plot, sort of almost like fable-ish, mythical. And it is 2 hours, 17 minutes. It is the longest Studio Ghibli movie. So be prepared for next week when you come to watch it.
It's so long.
The next ones aren't
Not as long as Wicked, though, on Monday.
Yes. Yeah, well, I guess that's a good time as any to talk about what we've got coming out. So yeah, Monday we will have Wicked Part 1 review, which I need to see at some point. I'll probably end up watching that on Monday because I am busy the rest of the week, and then I'm at Comic-Con on Sunday.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
I know that's a lot of time I need to take out of my day on Monday, but it will be done, it will be watched, and it will be reviewed, and then that will set us up for Part 2 the following week, which I'll need to book my cinema tickets for. In the meantime, let us know your thoughts on The Wind Rises. If you have seen it, let us know your thoughts on it, and do consider subscribing to the channel. Obviously, we've got a month left on the Studio Ghibli reviews, plus some retrospectives coming up next year, and we're still slogging our way through at least 2 more Wizard of Oz reviews, Wizard of Oz themed reviews with the 2 parts of Wicked. I ain't never seen them. None of us have seen Wicked Part 2 yet, but I feel like everyone else has seen Part 1.
Will it count as Wizard of Oz?
We will see. We will see. Until then, thank you to everyone who tuned in or commented, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.